I'm not a fan of Floyd.
That's fine.
Because to me, every song sounds the same.
I understand. I definitely understand.
Here's how it goes. Man.
The ambience.
Like that's
It got more rocky in the 80s. Come on, man.
Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, yet again, for another episode of Season 2 of This Evening Tonight. And with me this evening is neither Martin nor Navy Wayne. Neither one of them is here. Today, we're actually going to be having our first actual guest interview. So joining here with me is the Sultan of Death Metal himself, the Lord of all Darkness, Satin, S-A-T-I-N. Hail Satin, or Silky Lord. No, guys, I'm just kidding. This evening we have Chris Rabideau of Disillusion Effect, and I want to say the breathing treatment because I was...
The breathing process.
The breathing process. Huge fan. Biggest fan of the breathing process.
Clearly, yes.
You can tell.
Yes.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you.
It's an honor to be the first guy.
The first.
Or gal.
First dude ever.
First body.
First binary, non-binary.
Yeah, man.
First genome.
We're all about you. We're just
chilling.
We're just pro-human around here. You know what I mean?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, we're pro-human.
Pro-human, yeah. Pro-breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have.
Mm-hmm.
How's that coffee treating you?
It is delicious.
You ever had LSD?
Lead singer disease?
It's like, pack your bags, you're going on a trip, enjoy the coffee.
Whew, it's going to be a long drive.
It's
going to be a long drive home.
Hot in here.
Might have to make a little shelter in the yard, make a fire, just break things down.
Oh, got the fire pit. I'll throw you 10 up.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
So let's see here to start this off right. How long have you been in the music business here, Rab?
I started playing music on any kind of legitimate level June of 2012. That's when we founded Disillusion Effect. It was me, Jimmy Rhodes, Bob Emmel, and Jacob Miller founded that band at Tom Stowers' dojo out in Opakiska Road.
At a dojo?
Yeah, there was this there was this local martial arts instructor who was very, very big fan of the metal. So he would have these house party kind of shows. So we didn't have a practice space when we first started. So we would just practice there all the time.
So he was like the dojo instructor that was a fan of the metal? Like, was he like the defender of the metal?
Yeah, he was the defender of the metal.
There was the dark arts out there. We don't want to
claim him. Yeah, we don't want to claim him, but he would probably suggest that, that he's the defender of all the metal.
Makes me think of that, was it the Jack Black Tenacious D song? You know, it's like, New Wave tried to destroy the metal.
You can't. It can't. When the nuclear fallout happens, there'll only be a few things that exist on this planet.
Cockroaches and metal.
In all its forms and all its strange radioactive mutated forms.
What was it that made you want to pursue this path of being like a metal vocalist?
I've always had a knack for being loud.
Touche.
I've always been a little loud, being from a New York family. We're yellers.
I got one part New Jersey living here with me.
There you go. Shout out to the Northeast. Anyone from the Northeast, we love you.
Great bagels. I'm just a big fan of them.
Oh, the best. The best.
Anything
bellies.
with a carb, I can get my fat ass. Yeah.
Side note, secret to good bread, shitty water. Facts.
That's what I hear. You know, got to get that good Hudson.
Yeah, you got to get that Hudson in there.
Swill. Cigarette butts and everything in it.
Yeah, but I've always kind of had a penchant for being loud. And I waited a lot later in life to start playing music compared to a lot of people that I know. Because they started, in their teens, playing in bands.
Yeah.
In their parents' garages, hanging out, you know what I mean, playing music. And I did that for a little while in high school, but it just didn't really go anywhere. I thought I just didn't have the it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah, it was, what was it? I was 19 years old when I first got into Montana, and I was probably in 21, 22 when I actually started playing with a band myself. And I always wanted to do it, but I always had stage fright and everything like that. But alcohol is a wonderful cure for the stage fright. Gets you out there, break out of your shell a little bit.
That's also another big thing is it wasn't until actually the last few years that I start addressing it and acknowledging it and like seeking out assistance
Mhm.
for it. But I also suffered from anxiety. I used to be a really, really shy kid.
Yeah, me too.
Who,
Amen.
if you were to put me like in front of the class and have everyone's eyes on me, I probably as a little kid just broke down and just would have started crying.
Just don't make it. Just look away. Just look away.
It was
Yeah.
a weird kind of paradox growing up because I was a bit of a class clown, but only kind of at times. Yeah, I would like act out and do things.
I feel like we're related right now. Like,
But then other times I just didn't want to be acknowledged. I just
all right,
wanted
on the
to kind
count
of
of
fade
3,
away.
real quick. Favorite dinosaur? 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
No, I knew
Damn
you were
it.
going to say that.
Damn it.
I knew you were going to say it. I didn't want to do it to you. But no, more of a T-Rex guy.
Okay.
More of a T-Rex guy. Even in spite of the arms. I think that the T-Rex is inspirational to be the king in spite of its...
Do you believe that the T-Rex and like all the other dinosaurs evolved into like birds?
I think that there's strong evidence to suggest that more dinosaurs had feathers than we probably originally thought.
I wholeheartedly believe it, but I really hope the T-Rex evolved into like the nowadays, to the modern days, chicken. Just to know that like it is a proud animal, like at heart. Like it's
It
just
is.
a badass.
It's strutting around like it owns shit
Yeah.
all
Oh.
the time.
My dad
Strutting around.
Dad has a bunch of chickens, and anytime he gets new ones, I get to be part of the find the rooster, because you'll see him strutting around, get that chest out, and be like, "Oh, son of a bitch!"
Letting everyone know he goes to the gym,
You're like, "Oh, yeah,
get the pump.
leg day."
Leg day. But yeah, man, when I started the band, it's kind of serendipitous how Disillusion Effect started because I grew up knowing Jimmy and Bob for a really long time. Like
Yeah.
ever since I was like 14 years old, I hung out with those dudes, drinking beer, listening to metal, doing metal karaoke. And I think maybe that's where the seed started, was
Yeah.
planted, doing heavy metal karaoke when I had way too many, suds.
All I want to do is scream.
Right. I was like, I just like to scream a lot.
Yeah.
I like to be loud. I like to scream. I didn't know what I was doing, and I probably maybe still don't. But
Look, man, I've listened to some of your stuff. I own a couple of the Disillusion Effect albums
Yeah.
from the Amazon. Good
Ah.
old Amazing.
yes.
And like, I'm not going to sit here and BS with you. Like, it's definitely not my go-to,
Sure.
but I'm one that will truly say I listen to just about everything.
Mm.
Like, hell, there was a kick. I was on Eminem for like the new album, the Kamikaze album. I checked it out, which is not my
Love
go-to,
Eminem.
but he's a brilliant lyricist.
Yeah.
Like the riffs that I've picked up from Disillusion Effect
Mhm.
and the new project, I'm like, awesome. Like I was in here listening to it in the office, just had that nice little head bob. I was like, I could listen to this, like
Yeah. yeah.
it's awesome. Like I
Thank
can't
you,
understand half the words.
Sure.
But that's just me.
sure.
But like I get intent with it though, because it goes back to somewhat of my roots, because I used to be a huge metalhead.
Yeah.
Like hands down, goth kid back in the day, trench coat, steel plated boots.
You went
Like-
to Gadzooks and Hot Topic.
Oh,
and
I was a
Spencer's.
Hot Topic kid, man. I was like
Yeah.
I was born in Hot Topic back
Yeah.
then.
Had
yeah.
more black T-shirts and you know what to do with.
Oh hell, I had a pinstripe button up with leather cuffs on it, like
Oh, bro.
damn near fedora hat and everything.
Bold man. I could have never pulled that off.
Oh, had red Dickie pants,
Oh, shit.
creased. Yeah,
Creased?
I ironed them, tucked into these
What a
steel plated
gangster.
boots.
What a
Yeah,
gangster.
I was a terrifying human
River
being to look
Sullivan,
at.
you are a gangster.
Yeah, now I'm just wearing cardigans and Dockers.
Well,
yeah.
you have to evolve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta. It's not really staying relevant with the times, but just
You
gotta
find
let-
your lane.
you gotta let the goth live on the inside.
Right. And hey, right concert, right circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
you'll paint your fingernails and throw a black T-shirt on or something. Who knows?
I don't know, man.
knows?
I'm getting to the age now where it's like I worry about the mosh pit. Like I was like, I can't go in there. Nobody in there. They're probably not vaccinated. Like I don't know. I'm afraid of hurting myself.
I'm sure that there'll be someone be like, "Oh, well, you're a pussy. You're not true metal." But I honestly haven't been in a mosh pit in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I stay out of them, man.
I play.
Last time I was in one,
I play and
dislocated
attend a
a
lot of
nose.
shows, and I've been there, done that. I was in a 15,000 person wall of death during Lamb of God at Ozfest back in the day. I just it's for me. I'd rather enjoy the show.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I enjoy all its nuances.
Now, that's one thing I will say that metal has hands down above
and how
any
it
other
comes
genre.
together.
Is a live show.
Probably can't
Best.
fuck with it.
Like
Probably
the
can't
best
fuck
live
with it.
performances I've ever seen was metal.
And one thing that metal is good at is selling itself to people in the live environment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're sitting at home and you're listening to Pandora and a metal song comes on, yeah, maybe it's not your cup of tea and you're going to quickly kind of skip that song. But if you went to a show on a whim,
pulls you in.
I feel like you would be like, I probably wouldn't think I would like this. But
I don't
now
know
that
why.
I get to see, right, now that I get to see how it comes together, and I mean, pound for pound, heavy metal guitarists and drummers are the cream of the crop. Like it or not, they are the best, and you can just fucking deal with it. Like they're the most technical.
I equate the metal to blues.
Yes.
They cannot be taught, but they can be felt.
Yes. And the best, and a really good metal guitarist has got a whole kit of goodies.
Yeah.
He can play groove riffs and shred riffs and feel solos. You know what I mean? He does a lot. He brings a lot to the table because metal is such a weird, expansive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another misunderstood thing I think about it.
Yeah, a lot of people just think metal's just screaming, banging.
Right. And then
power chords.
I could show you 20 different kinds of metal bands, and you'd be like, you know what? These don't sound the same at all. I mean,
I think it was you that put me on like 12-Foot Ninja.
Yeah.
And some, oh God.
I'm sure that
Dave Kern.
Dave Kern also was a big.
Yeah, big shout out to Dave. Dave is also the one here to help put together these questions here for you.
Oh, hey, we love you, Dave.
Because look, man, if I just sat down here, it would probably be like, so you play metal? How is it metal? It's extra metally. It's very metal.
It's extra screamy. It's extra sweaty.
It's like I love the screaming and the guitarring. It's incredible. It's just wonderful. I don't know why I'm talking like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave Kern, man, because he's a great ambassador of metal. He just loves it and is always quick to share bands. He comes at me at least a couple times a week with awesome bands.
Yeah.
And I know if it's a Dave Kern seal of approval band, it's gonna probably be killer.
I'd love to have him on the show here eventually too.
You should.
I've talked to him about it.
He's beautiful.
Yeah, he cut his hair though.
I know he's still majestic though.
He's
but
still our bearded unicorn.
But yeah, man. I mean, playing metal was kind of like a weird, strange road of things that I dabbled in playing music. I didn't think I had it. And then I did a bunch of karaoke.
Okay, so. Real quick, though, into previously what you said, we said you learned when you started this journey that you like to yell a lot, you like to scream.
Sure.
So knowing that you like to do that, so where do you draw your inspiration, though, for like the songwritings or lyrics?
I think that one thing in
Where
metal.
does Chris go?
Yeah. I'm inspired by a lot of things. I like to not even listen to a lot of metal when I'm making my own.
Yeah.
I want to potentially, and if I do listen to metal, it's something that is far removed stylistically to what I'm doing. Because I want to just kind of be honed in on and focused on what I want to do and not have anything kind of taint those flavors.
Okay.
Because it's a subconscious choice. It's not as if you were like, oh, well, this sounds really good. I'm going to rip this off. I mean, there are times that you do that. You're like, this is cool. I can work that into the repertoire and it'd be awesome. But you also, you want to just kind of shut out all the distractions when you want to make something. That's at least how I do it. And I mean, I like film, books, life. I mean, I write a lot of autobiographical stuff now, or at least I am, because we're currently working on a new Breathing Process record. It's going to be a full length. And this is going to be the first record and the first batch of songs that I'm featured on.
Nice.
Because I just joined the band last summer.
Yeah, you guys were on YouTube. I think you were filling in for him or something like that.
Yeah.
YouTube can't do it justice, by the way, because like the warm up, the lights and everything, you're like, was it The Traveler?
Yeah.
And then I was like the sound in the background, it's like, this is going to, it's amping up. And I'm like there waiting for this just to drop. And then whoever was filming, like the microphone was just blown because they were using their cell phone.
Right.
So it was like, oh, I'm like, oh God. So I had to start looking and finding like their music videos and stuff like that. And I was like, it's very good.
It's very different from what I had done in Disillusion Effect. And that was a big reason why I wanted to do it.
Okay. So right there, what are the differences between that? Because for me, it's not as versed into the metal or the death metal.
Well, I wouldn't ever really consider Disillusion Effect death metal. I mean, it's certainly metal, but I think it's more in the vein of a Pantera meets
Okay.
Lamb of God with a good thrash
Teach me, Sensei.
kind
You're
of
schooling me here
influence.
because now
A little bit. It was a little bit
right
of a
there, I
melting
told-
pot.
Yeah,
It was a little bit of a melting pot.
like this was me going, the metal. Yes, yeah. Thank you for correcting me because
Yeah,
I definitely like to be correct on this. So
we all kind of just came up in that era of the late 90s, early 2000s new American heavy metal wave, you know, the Headbangers Ball,
Yeah.
Resurgence bands, Trivium, Lamb of God, Kill Switch, Shadows Fall, Unearth, Chimera. God
I'm very
forbid.
happy that I know over half of them right
Yeah,
there.
like those All That Remains, you know, those are bands that were really crucial in kind of resurrecting metal at the end of the 90s, which was kind of a dead decade for
So
me.
how big of an inspiration was Nickelback? I just left. I'm sorry, guys.
It was, I mean, once again, I don't think that we have enough time on this podcast to go there.
Well, we're only 17 minutes in, and so we still we try to do this for about a whole hour. And
No, well, let's just say that, you know, Chad Krieger is just a walking wet dream of mine. And I only hope to embody his greatness at the most minute levels.
I forgot his name was Chad. John.
I'm hoping that's his name. I'm guesstimating that that's what it is, but if it's not,
It
fuck
is
yourself.
now. Yeah,
It is now. But,
Look at this booger.
But yeah, I mean, going back to your question about
Yeah.
you know what's the difference between the bands, I think that we kind of had the breathing process is much more of a death metal. It's got the blast beats.
Mm-hmm.
It's sonically more heavy.
Now that's the thing too. I never thought that I would enjoy death metal then, because
Yeah.
listening to them, I never would have pegged them from what my impression of death metal was.
Right.
Because I was like, this is awesome. Like,
But then they also incorporate the black metal elements, the symphonic, orchestral
Did-
arrangements,
I do like that. Yeah.
a bit of an ambience to the songs. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? They have some cool backtrack stuff when we do live shows. It's like one fluid.
It's not shoving it all in your face at once, you know,
Right.
like speed metal.
We
Like,
throw that breather in there
Yeah.
in between the two songs.
let
So
you experience the song rather than just
right.
listen
I'm
to
gonna
it.
let it sink in what we just did to you
Mhm.
before I wallop you again.
Hell yeah.
But two very different bands, and I was never honestly a big fan of a lot of black metal historically. But
It's 2020. We don't have to.
yeah,
It's not like that anymore, man.
yeah.
Is there white metal?
Just a lot of the aesthetics I didn't agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've never really made music like that. Not that I'm, you know, super religious. I just think that it's kind of a cop out
Oh, okay.
to just
So
do
black metal is almost
utilizing a lot of the satanic imagery
I
and
see.
stuff like that. I guess historically, before I got into it, I thought that it was all like
Had I
that.
known that there was this much different types of like metal into that, it was like heavy metal, death metal. I thought that was about it. Now you're going like black metal stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite a spectrum of flavors. Metal is like Baskin Robbins, man. There's a lot happening there. A whole hell of a lot. So yeah, man, it was just a great opportunity to fill in for those guys when they were having some lineup problems. And I honestly wanted to do it just to challenge myself, to see if I could do it, to do vocal styles that were not really in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
A lot of brutal, more guttural stuff.
Yeah, because was it their previous singer, I guess.
Yeah, he was
Like
Cody was he's an extremely talented guy.
that was the one in the music video, right?
Right.
I was like, that was. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, that was good. I was.
Yeah, he's a
Okay,
fantastic
I got
vocalist.
a little chill. Got some chilies over
He's
it. Like,
fantastic
ooh.
vocalist, man. Just absolute fantastic vocalist. And the shoes were very, very, very large to fill.
So would you say that was the greatest challenge you ever faced during your life in music?
It was pretty nerve-wracking because I only had 20 days to learn the set, get my arrangements all figured out before our first show.
Okay.
So I had to learn the 6 songs, be ready to go to be a front man for this band on a tour. Not just one show, but like 9. You know, it was a really big nerve-wracking challenge. I remember thinking, like, rehearsing nonstop the first like 4 or 5 days, and none of it was really sticking
Yeah.
like I thought it would. I was like, oh, at least I'd have like one song by now. But I was trying to cram everything in,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. And there was a few sleepless nights,
Yeah.
like where I was like, what the fuck have I gotten into? Like I told this guy,
I guess there was a lot of coffee involved.
There was a lot of caffeine and a lot of other things to kind of calm my nerves.
Chamomile. Lots of chamomile.
A lot of chamomile, a lot of lavender.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
it is. Some essential oils,
Yeah, to set the mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really difficult to kind of make that happen, but I'm glad that I did. I didn't go into it anticipating being a permanent guy in that project, but I'm really happy that I did because I'm really excited about it. It presents a lot of new opportunities as an artist, and I'm really proud of the songs that we've made. We've done 6 songs right now.
Yeah, and you said it's going to be like a full release album.
Full release, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Full length. We're going to try to do 12, 13 songs and pick the best like 8 or 9 of them.
Oh, yeah. So
they
and those guys, like, they're going on tour and everything. Like you guys, I mean,
they're very
active.
active.
Like,
yeah, we're very active.
I checked out the Facebook, and they're all over.
Yeah, we play.
But let me ask you this then. So in between either them or a DE, what's the weirdest venue you've ever played at?
Oh, man.
Get comfortable.
Whoo! Honestly, it was from this last summer on the Breathing Process tour. We were in Canada. We were playing
exotic.
Yes. We played all of the shows, all 3 shows in Ontario. But this show in particular was in Sudbury, which was the northernmost city of the cities we played. Probably from the border, 12, 13-hour drive.
Holy shit.
So it's up there.
North.
Right. When you keep going north, more and more stuff is in French. So we were getting up there.
Like, oh, bonjour, here we go.
And everything about this town was kind of weird. The fact that it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and during the day there were people walking around, but as the sun set, it was like the town that dreaded sundown. It was just a ghost town. There was nobody. It was very, very strange. And then me and my guitarist, Jordan, we were sitting out in front of the venue just hanging out. Walking down the street is like a gang of kids from like 8 to 13 years old with bats, hockey sticks.
The most terrifying 8
just
to 13
a motley
year
group,
olds.
like, rubbing the bats along the fence, chain link fence, like ding, 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 ding. Like they're just looking for it. And I was like, Jordan, man, we should probably go inside.
They're talking shit in French.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, man, they're just a bunch of kids. Don't worry about it. And I was like, yeah, a bunch of kids with baseball bats. I was like, how many hits to the head do you think
that hockey stick is sharpened on the blade?
Yeah. And that was kind of the beginning of that day being weird. But the venue that we had played was an old school converted into a music venue, an apartment building complex that a lot of the employees of the venue lived at.
So a school converted into a music center / apartment.
Right. So they downstairs in like the basement of the school was where the venue was.
How old are we talking on this building?
Probably almost 100 years.
Oh,
old. This place was definitely haunted. It just you walked in and it was thick. It was just thick, man. You were alone, but you weren't alone.
You have like one of those like electronic interference.
No, I don't want to know. I'm just here to do the job.
I just feel it.
Right. Yeah, I know what I feel, and
at any point was there a?
No, we didn't experience anything. It was more of just kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you on that, man. I believe in the paranormal, and
for sure. I didn't always used to, but I'm a big believer in ghosts now after a couple of experiences that I've had. Yeah.
Well, God, don't ever listen to Coast to Coast AM.
Is that?
It's a radio show, and it's like all encompassing, like similar to this, except they stick with the weird. Sometimes they're like, oh, we're going to talk about the economy, and then like one night, I was at work, and I was out in a vehicle, and it was like night shift, middle of the night, and they were like, this evening we're going to be talking about the dog people, like half man, half dog. They live in the woods.
Oh, God.
30 minutes into it, I'm like leaned out the window with a spotlight looking for them. Like,
fuck that.
Like,
yeah, it's one of those things I didn't want to stir it up. So this place was just weird. The town was weird. The guy who ran it was named like Spider, and he had a bunch of tattoos on his head. And
was it at least spiders?
No, there was no spiders, which was strange.
Why do they call you Spider? Don't ask him.
Don't ask him. Yeah, it's probably his prison name. Who knows? But it was just a really strange place. And then we spent the night after the show because it was so late and so far north. We were like, we might as well just crash here. They offered to kind of put us up. But I got such a bad vibe from that place that I ended up sleeping in the van with my knife. Because I was like, well, if at least someone tries to break in the van, I'll be able to potentially stab them and prevent that from happening.
Or just commit Harry-Carry if it gets too bad.
And I wasn't going to sleep in this place.
Yeah.
I was like, this seems like a House of 1,000 Corpses scenario written all over it. Like, these people live here. We don't know anything about these people or this place. I'm just not doing it. And there were a lot of bad drugs in that town, too, which also kind of skis me out. A bunch of dirty needles in the parking lot out back.
Would you say it was like the 13-year-olds, probably, those 8 and 13-year-olds?
That's probably why they were so juiced up.
They
They were
strapped
just
ready to
looking
go.
for it, man. They were all tweaked out of their minds, looking to eat someone's face off. They did a little methamphetamines, a little bath salts.
God,
They take on the world.
So you've probably seen that news article, what was that, years ago, where that bath salt dude, like, it was like our first actual zombie.
That was like the summer of bath salts, and it was all happening
He ate
in
somebody's
Florida.
face off. The dude ate half his own face off and was eating somebody's stomach when they found him on the interstate and took like 90 rounds to kill him.
First of all,
They had to shoot him in the head.
can you imagine being that first responder to that?
Well, if it
Seeing
was
that?
me, I would be like, zombie, we got to shoot him in the head.
Well,
Like, I would
that's
have
it.
called it in and be like, dispatch, it's a
I've
zombie.
never. That's kind of where I was getting at. Do you think that guy was the guy in the zombie movies who never has seen a zombie movie? He's like, oh, what is wrong with this guy
Yeah,
whose
that's the
throat
thing.
is
Every
ripped out and he's
zombie
still
movie.
walking at us?
If there's anyone in this country
I'd
in a
shoot
zombie
that
outbreak,
motherfucker in the head first. As soon as he's clearly fucked up and coming at me,
Yeah.
it's over. Shoot for. There's people, I'm just gonna take my chances in that scenario.
yeah. That's
I'm
what I
just
said. Like, if there's
I'm just
anybody
taking my
in
chances.
this country, hell, even the world, and a zombie outbreak actually happens, and they go, what's that? You deserve to die. I'm sorry. Like, you
It's
haven't seen.
during the hesitation. That's when they get you.
Yeah.
That's when they.
Or just the fact that with The Walking Dead that's on the air and all the zombie movies over the years, somebody can actually be out there going, what's a zombie? Like,
Right.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Right. Have
Well,
you not
know,
seen
you know.
one George Romero movie? Like, not one. Come on. But yeah, that was the weirdest place I've ever played for a lot of reasons. The fact that it was so far away from home, this old school, which schools are like hospitals. Any place that should have people in it but doesn't
Mm-hmm.
is scary.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
An auditorium, there's nothing scary about an auditorium, but when you're alone and it's dark and there's no one there,
Lights cast funny shadows.
that they do. That they do. And all those buildings are very old, so you never know.
Yeah,
You never know. So yeah, man, that was the weirdest place I've ever played for sure.
definitely.
And that says a lot because I've played some doozies. I played metal all around West Virginia for 7 years
Mothman.
before I've ever even joined this project.
So do you have any like bucket list concerts or maybe like a bucket list venue you'd like to play one day?
I'd like to play metal overseas and continue to play music to people, who maybe have the opportunity to play to people who don't even speak the same language as
Yeah.
you. But during the music, during the art, there's that
There's a
kind
lot
of
of
connection.
metal and everything that goes on over in Japan. I mean,
Dude, they love metal.
they're
over
heavily
there. They love it.
influenced from American culture.
Loud Park is one of the biggest heavy metal festivals in
Yeah.
the world. It's a big one. And it's crazy about the Japanese because they go ham when the
Yeah.
songs are happening. But when you stop playing, silence. Because that's a part of their culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just be patient, be reserved, kind of don't stick out. There's this funny thing on this Lamb of God DVD where they talk about that when they go to Japan and they're doing like this signing or something. So, in America, it's like, are you motherfuckers ready? And everyone's like, yeah. So they're like walking in and there's this huge line of these, all these Japanese kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you ready, motherfuckers? Like, and they're all just looking at him like, what? So it's a strange paradox. It's like they
Yeah.
don't have a lot of opportunities to go just wild. So the metal kind of coaxes them out of it.
Yeah.
But when you're done, you can hear a pin drop.
Zip
It's
it
weird.
back up, kids. Time to go.
Right.
Yeah, one of my favorite recordings.
Like they'll politely like applause and then they're going to quietly and patiently wait for the next song.
like a golf clap.
Right.
Damn.
So I think that'd be a great country maybe for stand-up comedy because it's not in their nature to heckle.
Oh, God. Yeah. Heck. For those of you guys that don't know, I have tried my hand in stand-up comedy here for a few times. Sometimes it is successful. Other times, those goddamn hecklers.
It's room by room.
Yeah, man. You got to. It's
room by
ruthless. Ruthless.
It's
especially,
the hardest thing I've ever done.
especially if there's alcohol involved.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing that I've ever done is stand-up comedy.
Well, the thing I learned, I had one night that I did a little stand-up, and it wasn't at the old place where you're at, you know.
Mhm.
It was another place there. It used to be the Rhythm and Brews.
Oh, okay.
And there was a bunch of people from my other job there, and they were all liquored up, man. And they heckled me so hard, I like snapped,
Yeah.
hopped off stage, but the crowd loved it. The crowd that didn't know who I was and who they were loved it.
Right.
They thought it was
the exchange.
They thought it
were
was
so
an act.
entertained. Right.
They were like, "Was that like a plant? That was great." And I'm like, "Yes, it was. You're very welcome. Thanks for
We
watching.
appreciate your
Yeah,
support.
really appreciate
Just
it.
go with it.
Just give me some money. I don't have any merch to sell you. Just give me some money.
Buy me a beer, damn it.
Please buy me a beer."
Yeah, I'm hurting on the inside. Please buy me a beer.
Sorry, we just had to run back here and grab ourselves some more coffee.
Yes.
Mm.
Salute to the coffee.
That is
It's magnificent,
That is an
Joe, isn't it?
oaky coffee. That is, man.
That's good. It's real good. And we're back.
So that already kind of answered a question I had before where I was going to ask you, did you have any other creative outlets or passions? We already covered that.
Yeah, I love to write. I love to write. In college, I fell in love with writing. And that's why I'm a big fan of making sure that the lyrics and the projects that I'm involved with are actually worth a damn.
Mm.
And attempt to defy people's expectations of what they foresee in metal music.
All right. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's...
That is
you know,
the most
it's-
astute evaluation of like somebody explaining metal, like right there I've ever heard. I was like, look inside yourself and you'll find the metal, and like in the metal will find you. I'm like,
Because I think that
Hallmark
all
me.
the artists that really inspire me have something to say in their songs. I mean, there's a lot of bands that I love who maybe it's not the lyrics which get me. You know,
Yeah.
it's not what I like about the band, but the bands that really inspire me are the ones that have something to say, something that's relatable.
Whether it just be a message or like whether a broad spectrum of a message or like something that just resonates
It
within you.
speaks to you. It speaks to you in some way, and maybe in some way you can identify with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Trent Reznor, Marilyn Manson, those guys are huge influences for me because I believe that they write great songs.
Yeah.
From a lyrical standpoint, in spite of what you think about their music or them personally, they are prolific songwriters who I think write lyrics at some of the highest level.
Yeah.
And,
The thing, and there's another thing to be said too for great songwriting is you'll find that whatever your favorite song was, the one that always spoke to you. I think we all have a few of those songs that we listen to, and you just listen to it one time, and then it takes on a whole new meaning.
Sure.
Like, or you like interpret it as maybe a completely different message, but whether or not it's still the duality that is possessed in some of those songs.
That's what I really like. I don't want to tell you what the song's really about. I can maybe talk about where I was when I wrote it, but essentially I want it to be your own experience.
So you want to ask people, what is the song telling you? Not what am I telling you through the song? What is the
Right.
song telling you? What are you interpreting?
Right. For
And
instance,
that's how music's art right there.
Right. Like, for instance, I have a couple songs that are kind of like a yin and yang on the record. And one of the songs is about turning on the things that you love, and the other song's about the things that you love turning on you. But really, that's in terms of what it's about. That's really all that it's about, and how you put that together in your relationship with it. That should be yours to kind of concoct.
Hell yeah.
You should trust the audience in your art to make their own relationship with the art.
Absolutely.
And I
So-
think that when you spoon feed them and try to tell them too much, it's insulting, and it loses.
Some
It's
people can be
related-
offended by it, but other
It's
people need it
relatability.
spoon-fed.
Yeah, maybe.
I
but-
mean, we know there are people out there. There's usually a lot of the basic white girls out there. You know, you got
Yeah.
like, you know, of culture that everything has to be spoon-fed to them.
yeah, but I think that you know when you're making something whether or not they're in your demographic.
Yeah.
They may find you, but they probably won't keep you afloat.
I'll tell you, with the demographic, that's something that we're definitely learning about here on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Is the broad spectrum that we try to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Going in season 2 here, we're resonating a lot more mainly with gamers,
Mm-hmm.
unsolved murder mystery lovers, like original, like creepypastas, murder mysteries, true crime,
Love
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that we're going to fall into that same genre. Like I don't hate the genre, but I still want to maintain it as a broad spectrum. It's not because I don't want to lose anybody. It's not that I'm trying to piss
Keep
anyone
it
off, but
fresh.
it's like
Keep it
it's
fresh.
to maintain the originality.
Sure. Yeah, keep it fresh. Have a baker in next week. Week
Yeah.
after that, have a amateur filmmaker. You know, I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of intrigue to that because they can talk about their art and that's great, but it's more important for them to show the audience who they are as humans because that's what's interesting.
Yeah.
It's easy to find out about a project. You know, it's easy to just, well, what is this record about? Oh, well, it was made here and blah, 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 blah. That's easy to find.
Yeah.
That's easy to find. But if you want to know more and dive deeper, I think it's the human element that's interesting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say that writing that you've done,
Mm.
what has it taught you about yourself? Like, what have you learned about you through your own writing?
I think that growing up being a shy kid and a fat kid,
You were a fat kid.
for sure.
No shit.
For sure. For sure. Still kind of husky, but definitely, yeah. Back in the day, I was a fat kid with a bowl cut. And,
Oh, God.
you know, I spent a lot of time kind of by myself. And I think that
Yeah.
art, visual art, because I used to like to draw a lot too.
Is that why I think just from the fact that I can relate to where you came from on that makes me wonder, is that why that we were drawn to the metal? Because it talks about a lot of the loneliness. I mean, you listen to country and it's about my pickup truck and
Right.
how much I love my dog and I got a great life and whatever. Like the metal's like, you're lonely and we're here for you. Yeah,
I grew up in a classic rock family.
Yeah.
And I always loved Pink Floyd because I thought their songs, especially in The Wall, represented how I felt.
now see,
a lot of times.
here's where you're going to hate me. I'm not a fan of Floyd.
That's fine. And
Because to me, every song sounds the same.
I understand. I definitely understand.
Here's how it goes. Man.
The ambience.
Like that's
It got more rocky in the 80s. Come on, man. But no, I just thought that those songs represented that isolated place that I felt like I was at sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, you're growing up, your hormones are all weird, and you
Yeah.
don't know who you are or what
went
you're
through a
doing.
weird poetry phase too.
Yeah,
Like
I used to keep books of like poetry and stuff at the
I did
house.
sketchbooks, stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, me too. And I've always kind of where I was going with all this is I think that art allows you to tolerate being by yourself. I think it teaches you confidence in spite of how you put yourself out there and how frail you may be to someone's criticism of whatever you're making.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's empowering to have that voice. And I think what we see a lot of the time are people who are they're just unable to take that time to be by themselves, to face themselves. And I think that's what creating art does. Because if you're a sincere artist, that's all you really have if you're going to be yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm glad I'm recording this because this is like some good stuff.
Thanks, man. I'm just real passionate about people being honest with their work.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a big
don't make stuff that you think other people want. Make what it is that you want to make.
I was a guy who had never really been in any metal band or any bands whatsoever, but starting to play metal, I thought that there were some aesthetic things that I needed to put into the art. And now that I've grown, I see that stuff isn't as good because there's no relevance of it. There's no significance
Mm-hmm.
to myself, and I think that'll come through onto the audience because you always have to assume that in spite of, people are fucking stupid, the audience is a lot smarter than what you want to admit.
Damn right, yeah.
And they're going to turn on you in the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing to do, and the only thing that I had confidence doing, is trying to be just myself.
Yeah.
Just try to find that voice. And regardless of what you're doing as a painter or as a singer, whatever, I mean, you're looking for that voice.
Yeah.
You're looking for what makes Chris Rab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's a lifelong pursuit. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I found out, in a couple of years.
Got the secret. Nailed it.
But I found that my music made me more fulfilled when I wrote about things that were more significant on a personal level.
I can definitely agree with that because I can speak for it out of my own experiences as somebody that has done the gaming videos and short films and documentary, like anything that I'm doing that involves me creating something from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
like each one of these episodes, like the first one that I made, I was so proud of it. It was perfect
Right.
in my mind. I go back
You
an
can't
hour
stand it
later
now.
and like I just cringe.
Yeah.
But it's as long as I can keep that strive, that drive to do better each time. Like I want every episode that I make here to be better than the last one. And I
Then it
enjoy the
will.
content though.
Then
but
it will.
as long as you can look back and go, could have done that better, instead of just critiquing yourself, being able to actually apply that forward and say, yeah, I realized what I needed to do and I made that better. And I'm going to keep striving to do that.
Yeah. No, then you will.
Like for me with
Because-
this voice stuff, I've become a complete blown out audiophile.
Yeah.
When I go through and do these edits, I sit here for hours. And if I hear a little mouth noise, a little tick, whatever, a breath that I don't like, I'm going in, I'm scrubbing it all out by hand and trying to find a good dead tone in the room that I can copy paste on it to make it sound perfect.
Yeah.
Because I want this shit to sound, professional.
I think that your willingness to want to get better will keep you humble, and it'll keep you hungry. Because I think any good artist is they don't have a lot of confidence in what they do.
Yeah.
They may have an ego that's perceived from the outside, but deep down they're constantly just at war with themselves.
Yeah.
And whether or not the output is meeting their expectations to what they have in their mind.
Yeah.
And that's really the struggle of any artist. I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, I mean, for the few years I've been doing this, there's not one time that I've gone, got it, nailed it. I'm done. I'm perfect. I nailed this. Like I'm just, every time I do something going, you're not there yet. You're not there yet.
I can only listen to one song on the first Disillusion Effect record. So I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I look at all that stuff and it's just like, it's just, but then there was that one song that was like the catalyst for me to want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the only one that I like. But I know what you mean, man.
So would that be any other advice that you would maybe give to any other aspiring vocalists, artists, or maybe even some advice you would like to give to a young you?
I wish that I could tell myself like, hey, maybe you should have started playing music a little earlier than what you did. But the reality was I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to be that guy for a band. I just wasn't. So I think that being honest with yourself about where you're at, staying humble, staying hungry, blocking out the noise. I guess the biggest advice that I would have for any kind of artist is you're going to be given a billion reasons to not do what you're doing. Your friends, your family, people that tell you that they love you, they're going to say some pretty terrible things about your art at some point.
They're going to tell you they don't understand.
Right. They're
It's
just
not
gonna,
worth
they're going
it.
to wonder. Yeah, they're going to wonder why you're still doing it.
It's just a hobby. It'll never pay off.
Why don't you get a real job? It's just a hobby. Blah blah blah. They're gonna do those things.
Yeah.
Just stay the course, because I think that success in a creative field is all about perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
So just persevere and continue to challenge yourself by doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, things that maybe you don't like, work on things you suck at, and just dare to grow and stay humble and just stay focused.
Absolutely.
I think that that's really the best thing, and that's universal advice for whatever you're doing. You know, if you don't want to be in a band, that's cool, but
I'll tell you what, I agree 110% with everything you just said. I'd like to add one more thing to it.
yeah,
Just, I guess my own little spin or my own addition is
sure.
I agree with everything Mr. Rab here just said. The only thing that I would add to it is say, be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely be yourself. Don't
Yeah.
ever try to make yourself into something that's what is considered mainstream, because if you're trying to achieve something for monetary gain, that will happen eventually. It took me
Maybe.
many years before I started seeing some kind of return.
Right,
I don't believe I've still paid off, had an equal return for everything that I've invested into this,
right.
but it's a passion and progress that you have to keep that drive. You have to stay hungry.
It's a labor of love.
Yes.
Your creative outlet is a labor of love.
And if you're that
wanna
creative
get
and
paid,
original, be yourself and people will come to you.
people will gravitate to you being yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I get asked by, some younger fellas and ladies every once in a while who are just starting to play music, because I played a lot of shows in my time. I played a lot of shows in a lot of places. And the best thing you can do is just go up there and let the art do what it does and just be your best self. Some people need a character, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But, I think that in order to be consistent, you have to find comfort in your own skin. That's really the sauce.
Just get lost in that sauce.
Get lost in the sauce, because the sauce is the boss.
It's like Frank's. I put that shit on everything.
Is the boss.
Well, we're right on an hour.
I feel like we're really kind of hitting our stride now.
I mean, we are.
You want to go for a little while and maybe just patch it together? Just kind of keep it going for a little. You got any more questions?
No, like that nailed it right down to the T, right there on the hour mark. And I was like,
nice.
Fuck, that's perfect. I mean, we could just bullshit afterwards. I don't care.
Yeah, let me just get an opportunity to talk about, I guess, just some of the stuff that we got going on in the breathing process.
Absolutely.
Cool. Would that be cool?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as I mentioned before, the breathing process is working on a new record.
Mhm.
It's not titled yet. We're still in the demoing phase.
I think that's what you should call it. Not titled yet.
Not titled yet.
Or like it's like a prelude to your rise to glory. It'd be like not entitled yet.
Ooh.
Because you're hungry still.
Humble, hungry.
Unentitled piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just working on a record. If you live in the Western Ohio vicinity, you can catch the breathing process at their first show of the year at the Toledo Death Fest. We are playing that shit.
I'll make sure that I put the links for everything in the description below.
Saturday, May 9th.
Saturday, May 9th.
And we're playing with Jungle Rot, The Convalescence, Bro Job, Filth, and Hive, among many others. It's
nice.
going to be a killer.
Yeah, make sure you give me all the
stack
links.
lineup.
Just shoot them to me, and I'll put them in the description, and that way people can have a link to it. Like, I need a link to your social media for the band and like and the event and everything. Like, I'll throw all that on there.
Cool. Yeah, man. Check out the breathing process on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Oh, y'all on the gram?
We on the gram. We everywhere, man.
I'm not on the gram. I just discovered TikTok the other day, though.
I'm getting a lot of pressure recently to start my own gram, but I'm like,
I don't want to start one of them. We have a Twitter account here for the page for the channel. That's about it.
Yeah,
I don't even run that.
I have my Facebook, and that's really all I need.
Yeah.
I use it more of just like, hey, like we're doing this. If you're interested, that's fine. And I use it just to keep up with people that I don't see.
Yeah,
it's not even. I try not to be one of those self-promoting whores.
Oh,
I mean, I'll put it out there a little bit.
Oh, I'm a whore on this every show. I'm like, come on, sponsor. Somebody sponsor, for the love of God,
Give this
sponsor.
guy some money. Let me actually, just check out the breathing process. We got a new record, or fuck you. Next thing, if you got the monies out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you are Mr. Small, Medium, Large Business, you're looking to advertise into some creative avenues.
On the ground level.
Ground level. Get in while they're establishing what's going to be an entity that'll absolutely be taking over Appalachian podcasts, Eastern Seaboard podcasts, Western Hemispheres. Give the money up. Give my man, River Sullivan, the motherfucking money. Because he's got a really awesome setup right here. Imagine how awesome it would be if
you would never guess that this was a bedroom at some point.
He just needs a couple more fazools and he's there. That's all
I got
he
a couple
needs.
more panels I got to put up in the ceiling, and that'll really kill the noise.
Yeah, it sounds good in here though.
River tried to destroy the metal, but the metal was too strong.
You can't.
I would never try to destroy the metal.
You can't. You can't. Why? Because it's kind of a cockroach in itself. It dwells in the dark, and just when you think you haven't seen it or you won't see one again,
doesn't feed off the light. It just
crawls
survives
out.
it.
It just it devours the light. But yeah, I appreciate you having me, Mr.
Absolutely.
Mr. River Sullivan, ladies and gentlemen.
Cheers to you, Mr. Rabideau.
Tremendous.
Yes. Well, all right, guys. That sounds like that's all the time that we have here for this evening tonight. This has been River Sullivan, and with me, yet again, Chris Rabideau.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. And don't forget to check us out here. Not only were we just on YouTube, you're also going to find us out here on Stitcher, iTunes very shortly, iHeartRadio very shortly. But we're also on Sounder, Spotify. That's the good one.
Google it or fuck you.
Yeah, go to Googly, go to the Google box, type in This Evening Tonight podcast, and Spotify should definitely be the first one to pop up. Until next time, Peace out.
Gang, gang, motherfucker.